Welcome back to the channel for another unlicensed 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. And today we're going to be taking a look at Premier Toys Warlord, aka Immortan Joe, as he appears in Mad Max Fury Road. The review will take the usual format. We'll have a quick look at the box, then we'll be diving down onto the table to take a look at all the accessories. Then it'll be out with everyone's favourite Warlord, onto the stand, onto the turntable for a close-up look at Joe himself, and then wrapping the whole thing up as we normally do with a mini showcase. Bit of background, as viewers to my channel will know, I am a huge Mad Max fan, from the 79 original to my personal favourite, the Road Warrior Mad Max 2. I even quite like Beyond Thunderdome, don't tell anybody. So when Fury Road came out in 2015, I was happier than the feral kid with a music box. And a great return to the Mad Max universe it was too. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend checking it out. Now, Premier Toys have tackled a number of characters from the Mad Max universe with varying degrees of success, including Mad Max from the Road Warrior, which in my opinion was let down by a poor head sculpt, the Humongous, which there is a review for on this channel. Check it out if you haven't seen it. There's also a body swap video as well. Wes from the Road Warrior, which will be up for review pretty soon, as will the Doof Warrior from Fury Road, which is due in anytime soon, so we'll be taking a look at that as well. This figure is being reissued by Premier Toys to coincide with the release of Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Thought now would be a good time to take a look at it. So before we dive into the box though, just a little bit of background on the actor himself. Unfortunately, Hugh Burns, who played Immortan Joe and also the Toe Cutter in the original Mad Max, won't be returning in Furiosa, unfortunately, because he passed away shortly after the release of Mad Max Fury Road. So it'll be another actor picking up the Immortan Joe role. But yeah, that's enough of Mad Max and my passion for it. We're here to look at the figure, so a quick look at the box. Yeah, it's a very, very simple box, shoebox design. It's got this relief picture of Immortan Joe on the front and a relief picture on the front and sides of some of the crazy vehicles in the film itself. It says Warlord across the bottom, Premier Toys in the top right hand corner. Flip it round. On the back we've got the Immortan Joe insignia, and we've got the usual warnings and bits and pieces on the bottom there. Don't piss this figure off, or it may not carry you to the gates of Valhalla, shiny and chrome. But yeah, very, very simple box. There's a clear plastic cover underneath where the figure is. He's already out of the box. So without further ado, let's dive down onto the table and have a look at all the post-apocalyptic accessories that you get with this figure. Okay, so here we are down on the table with all the accessories that come with your Immortan Joe figure. We'll start with the hands, as we always do. There's 7 in total. Just straight off the bat, a props to Premier Toys here. Each hand itself comes with its own individual wrist peg, which is unusual to see, but saves an awful lot of time and mucking about when it comes to reposing. So props to Premier Toys for that one. But let's have a close-up look at the hands themselves. Let's pick one at random. We'll take this one. Yeah, the sculpt looks pretty good. There's bone definition in there. There's vein work. There's an attempt at fingernails. Let's try the flexibility test. Yeah, what we've got here is a soft to medium, which is my preferred hand tension, so to speak, when it comes to using accessories. What stands out for me about these hands is the paint applications. Now, I'm not sure if the camera's picking this up, but they've got this sort of pinky hue to them, which is almost topped with a white, and I'm not how I can describe this, almost like a talcum powder effect, a white powder effect on the skin itself. You can probably see it in the crevices there in the hands. Now, this is very, very screen accurate, as you'll see when we bring out the figure itself, which the consistency of the paintwork continues throughout the body of the figure itself. But that is very, very screen accurate. Immortan Joe had this sort of odd pink colour to his skin in the film itself, and all the hands are painted with that same sort of slight pink hue to them, as I say, with that white dusting to them. So yeah, good job on the paintwork here. So decent sculpt and very, very good paintwork. I'll bring another one into shot here. We've got gripping hands, all different types of gripping hands, because obviously there's quite a large array of accessories. We've got a fisted hand, and they all continue that same high quality of paint application and good sculpt as well. I think the camera's picking that up, that the vein work on the back of the hand there is really, really nice, and there's a little bit of reddening or bright pink, a brighter pink on the knuckles as well. So yeah, good sculpt, great paint work. So we'll put the hands to one side. That is a good start. What else do you get with the figure? Let's take a look at this scepter. Now this is rather nice. This is actually metal. The body of the scepter itself is metal, and it's got a plastic head. It's got some heft to it, and it's quite sharp at either end, so watch out. Don't want any accidents out there. The head itself, as I say, it's sculpted plastic, and it's got these odd sort of insignia and emblems on them, which are screen accurate as far as I can tell. The paint applications are quite nice on there. There's no real paint application on the body itself other than a brown. I think it was meant to have a wood effect, but I'm not certain. The spike on the end does have some dry brushing on there to give it a sort of worn and weathered look. But yeah, it's, as I say, got some heft to it. The sculpt is nice, and once again, the fact that it's made out of metal is a thumbs up to Premier Toys there. So we'll pop that to one side. On the subject of metal, and there is a lot of metal here, we'll take a look at the weapons next. Now, as viewers to my channel will know, I am no gun expert. I think this is possibly a Smith & Wesson, but I could be completely wrong. But I believe both guns are pretty screen accurate. So once again, what we're looking at here is metal. It's an all metal body with a plastic handle. The paint applications are nice, very shiny, very silver. Perhaps could do with a little bit of weathering if you wanted to pick out a niggly point, but on the whole, the sculpt is rather good. The only thing that I've noticed, and it's the same for both these guns, is neither of the guns has a hole in the barrel, which sort of defeats the object of a gun, really, but it is what it is. Minor niggle. The chambers themselves, so the guns revolve. There's no cocking action here and no trigger action. But on the whole, yeah, nicely made, nicely painted, barring the fact that there's no hole in the barrel itself. But yeah, nice work. And once again, props Premier Toys for going metal. So we'll put those to one side. We'll actually have a quick look at this one, because this does have some weathering on it. The handle itself has been sort of painted to give it this ivory impression, and it does look like there's a little bit of dry brushing on there just to make it look weathered. But once again, it's that same silver, no hole in the barrel, revolving chamber, no cocking action, no trigger action, but both nice, and I've got some heft to them. So we'll put those to one side. On the subject of metal, let's take a look at these two insignias that go on the belts. Now, there are two belts with this figure. Both, I believe, are pleather. One is already on the figure, but there is a spare one as well, which has this insignia on it. Now, it's a pleather belt. It's got some weathering on it, but yeah, we know what pleather is and what will happen to pleather over time, so exercise caution with this. There's a Velcro fastening on the back. The emblem itself is just simply, it looks like, studded onto the pleather belt itself. Once again, all metal. And what we've got here is the 929-240-49 emblem. The paint applications are really, really nice here. There's blacks and darker greys on there to give it that depth of quality and that worn look. And yeah, overall, very, very nice. And as I say, got some heft to it. This is my preferred insignia, this one. Now this this is the Immortan Joe insignia, and once again we're looking at all metal here. These chains that hang down have actually got some weathering on them. I will try and get the light to pick this up, but there's some weathering on those chains to make them look old, maybe a little bit rusty. The emblem itself is all one piece of metal with a hook on the back, and it hooks onto the belt on the figure. The insignia is screen accurate as far as I can see, and has some nice paint applications on there in the skull there to pick out the details. And as I say, got some real heft to it. What would be a concern to me was over a period of time, if this was hung on to the front of a pleather belt, that it would stretch and damage the belt. But we'll take a look at that when we bring out the figure itself. But overall, a really, really nice piece and really, really screen accurate. And as I said, this is my preferred one, my preferred look for the figure. So we'll put those to one side. Quick look at the stand. You get a standard oval base. Nothing outstanding here. You know my feeling on these. I'm not a huge fan of these sort of third-party oval bases, and I tend to use custom stands and dioramas and so on with my figures. But as far as oval bases go, this is not. I've seen a lot worse. It's just a piece of plastic with a sticker on the top. The sticker itself, though, is quite nice. There's no bubbling here. There's no peeling around the edges. It's got a nice sort of grainy quality to it, and it's got a relief picture of Immortan Joe on the front there, and says Warlord, and comes complete with your standard issue crotch grabber that simply slots in there. So that's the stand. And finally is this mask. Now, I really, really do like this mask. I think the job that Premier Toys have done here is really, really good. What you've got is the metal half-face mask, and it is all one piece of metal. The sculpt on there is very, very nice and screen accurate. The paint applications are really, really good. If the camera's catching this, you've got dry brushing on there. You've got different tones. There's around where the teeth and the chin are, there is sort of bone. Paint applications to replicate bone. You've got washes in the crevices there, dry brushing. The whole thing just looks very, very impressive and very, very screen accurate. Possibly these teeth here could be slightly whiter. I think they are slightly whiter in the film, but that's a minor niggle. These two hoses that run off the half mask are plastic, and these have been really, really well weathered. I do like the weathering here. It's almost like a dusty dirt. It's like sand has got into this pipe or onto this pipe. So I'm assuming they've done that through dry brushing. But yeah, just looks really, really nice. There's not much flexibility in these hoses because they attach to the back of the figure's head itself. I'll try and get these into camera. There are two magnets. There's one at either end here, and they simply magnetize to the back of the figure itself. But yeah, I really do like the work that Premier Toys have done on that mask. It's very nice indeed. So we'll put that to one side. That is all the accessories that come with the figure itself. So without further ado, let's bring out the Warlord himself. Let's get the big guy onto the stand, onto the turntable, and have a close-up look at him. Okay, so here he is, Immortan Joe himself, onto the stand, onto the turntable. So let's take a close-up look at him. Normally at this point I would give a first impressions, an out-of-the-box first impressions, but this figure isn't brand new to me. I've had it in the collection a while. However, what I will say is I was suitably impressed the first time I saw him, and I'm still suitably impressed today. I don't want to give away too much of my verdict on this just yet, but suffice it to say, the work here is pretty good for a third party. But we'll do what we always do. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. Because this guy is so complex and there's so much detail, let's stop him spinning first. What we will do is we'll take him off the stand and try and get him as close into camera as possible so you can see the details here. But yeah, we'll start with these boots. Now, these are all plastic, as are these shin guards. That one's twisted by the looks of it ever so slightly, but there's a split cut boot design here, which is nice to see. As I say, all sculpted plastic, the shin guards and the boots themselves. There's some nice detailing in there. I will bring this around so you can see the back. There's strap work going around the back. There's detailing on each of those straps and actually on the shin guards themselves. It's just very nice. Perhaps could do with a touch more weathering, but maybe that's just me being pedantic. Onwards and upwards, the pants themselves, these are made out of a cotton. Now, it's good to note at this point that the body itself underneath these pants is padded. Now, I'm not sure about the padding on the torso. I don't think there's any padding on the torso, but there's most certainly padding on the legs that goes all the way up to the waist to give that bulk to the figure, because Immortan Joe was a stocky guy. But yeah, these pants are a nice cotton. Now, I believe they're white, and that's judging by the seam that you can see here on the edge of this. I'm going to call it a skirt, but it's been really, really nicely weathered. You've got browns on there, some yellowing. The dry brushing paint applications on there to weather it up are really, really nice. Around the seams and on the knees itself, the 6-scale stitching is very, very nice, and we all know that poor 6-scale stitching can knock the scale out completely, but it's very well done here. I'll bring him round and lift this skirt up so you can see around the back. Not so much weathering around the back, but that's understandable. Who's going to see the back of his trousers? Bring him back round to the front. Actually, while we're here, we'll take a look at this this skirt. We'll take a look at it from the back, because I think that's how you can fully appreciate it. Once again, it's made out of the same fabric as the pants themselves, and it's got that same weathering in there. There's browns and yellows, yeah, just very screen accurate. The length is right, the proportions are right, the stitching's good, and it's got its party piece, which is from this end here all the way around to this end here is wired. There's a wire running through, so you can just about do whatever you want with this. You can do some dynamic poses. You can have it flying behind him. You can really go to town with the posing on this. And props to Premier Toys for putting that wire in there. Not what I would have expected to see. It caught me by surprise when I first saw this figure. But yeah, moving up, we've got the belts. Now, as we mentioned before in the accessories section, there's there's another pleather belt that you can attach. I don't tend to use that. I tend to just leave this one as it is. Once again, I believe this belt is pleather. There's a sculpted plastic belt underneath, if you can see that. But over the top, you've got this pleather belt, and it's got this metal clasp at the front, which is studded through. Also, you've got two sculpted plastic holsters at either side as well. Now, that metal clip there is to attach this, and you simply, I'll do this on camera, you simply slot that on the front there. And it holds it quite well, actually. I was a little concerned that it will put unnecessary strain on this pleather belt, but as you can see, because like I say, it's been in the collection a while, this figure, and it's not really dragged that belt down in any way at all. So it supports it pretty well. So yeah, we'll keep that off for the time being, so we can actually see the details. So yeah, you've got the plastic holsters there, which you can slot either of the guns into. So yeah, nicely done. Nice to see they're actually sculpted plastic as well, and not pleather, because if you're taking guns in and out, they really do tend to damage that pleather very, very quickly. Right, onto the upper body. We'll bring him closer into shot here and alter these lights so we can get a close-up look at this. Because I think this is, I mean, it's very good overall, but where it really excels, I think, is in this upper body. Now, what you've got are underneath these free-floating plastic sections on the chest and on the arms, you've got bindings, bandage-type bindings, which are screen accurate, and they're all the way up the arms. And then you have, as I say, these free-floating plastic sections, which are screen accurate. Now, these have been weathered. I shall swing him round so you can see this. There's actually sort of yellowing paint applications here, which are reflected on the chest and abdomen section. So they're yellowed into the crevices there, and they do move. I will bring it round a little bit further, and you can actually see around the back here, you've got silver plastic clasps here. You've got insignia stickers on here, which is screen accurate. If I lift up this hair, you can see there are shoulder pads which lift up, which have more badges and insignias on them. They're all clear plastic, and they've all got this sort of yellow weathering in them. We'll bring him back round and take a look at this breastplate. Now, this is really rather special. It's clear plastic, as are these and these sections here, but what you can actually see underneath is the body of the figure itself. Now, very rare to see a body painted like this, but it's got that sort of pink hue to the skin colour that we talked about when we were looking at the hands, which is, once again, completely screen accurate, with that sort of white powder effect almost, which you can see through this translucent breastplate. On the front of the breastplate are all the insignias and badges and medals and so on, which I believe are screen accurate. I'll have to go back and double check to see if they're absolutely 100% spot on. And I'll bring this in a little bit further. We'll just alter these lights a little bit more. You've also got these chains, which are attached to the top of the breastplate and then come down onto this section here. Once again, screen accurate. We'll bring him round because actually the continuation of that body underneath this breastplate, and as you can see there, they've actually there are boils and lesions and scratches, and I'm assuming this is where he's been exposed to radiation historically. They've actually painted those onto the body so they're visible underneath the translucent plastic. Once again, 100% screen accurate. And maybe something that Premier Toys didn't need to pay that much attention to. I mean, after all, who views a figure from the back? But yeah, the paintwork is really, really good there. I have to, if I had a hat on, I would take it off to Premier Toys at this point. Have a look at this hood stroke breathing apparatus. I think this is actually, well, it's not a hood, it's the breathing apparatus that controls the mask which affixes to the face. Paint applications there, perhaps a little bit of a letdown, not as good as they could be. It's all sculpted plastic. I will just move this rooted hair to one side, and if the camera can pick this up, we have a magnet here, swing it round, and another magnet here, and this is where the two magnets of the face mask attach. But we'll take a look at that in a separate shot. Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick something that I think that perhaps lets it down a little bit, is the sculpt's okay on this breathing apparatus, but the paintwork's not so good. It's a bit cartoony, to be honest with you. It's not to the same standards as the rest of the figure. So, but yeah, it is what it is. Let's bring him round. And let's take a look at that head sculpt. Now we'll get him off the stand at this point and get him into camera. Do this carefully and just put that to one side so we can get a look at the detail in this head sculpt. Now, this was only possibly my second, maybe third rooted hair figure, and I was a little bit concerned, not being the biggest rooted hair fan. I'm growing to love it. This is, what do they say in shampoo adverts? Fly away. However, trying to do this in sculpted plastic would have been damn near impossible. So I think rooted hair was the only option they've got. And I think what they've actually done here is pretty good. It is fly away, as I say, and it does need some controlling. So, you know, a small amount of watered down product. I have futzed this hair historically, but over a period of time it's dried out and become fly away, so it needs redoing. But as I say, just a small amount of watered down hair product in there will flatten it down and give it that screen accurate look. But on the whole, the hair is the right colour, it's the right consistency, and it's just very well done. The front sections of this breathing apparatus are nicely done. There's some nice weathering on these visible sections here, which is once again screen accurate. Now this head sculpt, I'm going to really futz around with the lights here because it's worth getting the best possible light on this head sculpt. Right, there we go. Now this straight away, I mean, obviously this is how he appears for only a few seconds in the film when Furiosa rips off his mask and takes half his face with him. But the paint applications there are suitably gory. Perhaps the wet blood paint could be a little bit more pronounced there and a little bit better shaded. But on the whole, the sculpt is really, really good. We'll just pull his hair back so you can see this. The eyes are very well done, the furrows in the brow. The continuation of that sort of pinky white paintwork is really good. The gore effects are really, really nice, even only, as I say, only on screen for a few seconds. I think just overall, it's very good. This is not my preferred way of displaying him, however. I do prefer the look with the mask on. So really, that about covers, I think, most of it with this guy. What we'll do before we nip over to the mini showcase and wrap the whole thing up is we'll just cut and we'll bring him back under these lights with the accessories and the face mask on. So cut to the face mask. Okay, so here he is, Immortan Joe with accessories added. What we've done is we've added the scepter, we have added the guns, we've added the belt insignia and the mask itself. Just to give you an idea of how he looks with all these, with all the bits and pieces on before we go over to the showcase. And I have to say I am very, very impressed. It's not without its faults, and there are a number of them. To list a few, there should be a split in the back of this this skirt. Maybe there should be slightly more orange around the eyes on that head sculpt. The articulation isn't brilliant. It's not the best in the world. There are a few niggles here. Maybe the weathering on the guns could be a little bit better. But these are minor niggles. For a third-party figure, I think it is absolutely fantastic. I really do. The hair takes some futzing to get it to look perfectly screen accurate. It does take some time and attention, and as I say, it's not without its niggles. But having got a number of Premiere toys in my collection, Premiere toys take on the Mad Max universe, this to me is an outstanding piece. It is far superior to any of the other stuff that they've done. I think the only thing that comes close is the Wes that they did recently from Road Warrior. But to me, this isn't. It really is an outstanding piece, and I thoroughly enjoy it and love having it in the collection, despite its faults. So really, that about wraps it up for this review. I suppose all it remains for me to say is thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon. We have a lot more content coming up, not just from the Mad Max universe, but from all over the show. What have we got coming up? We've got Org Toys Paul Atreides, Still Suit Edition, that's coming in. We've got Iconic Studios, Muhammad Ali, that's due very soon. We're going to be reviewing the Premiere Toys Wes, as we mentioned before, and the Doof Warrior when that arrives. Next up is a Peaky Blinders special from Big Chief Studios. We're going to be taking a look at the Shelby brothers. We've got the Prime 1 and Blitzway quarter scale Paul Atreides statue. That's on its way. BM Projects Canada bike to go with the Canada figure that we reviewed recently on the channel. Yeah, lots and lots of content coming up. So, as I said, please hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you don't miss anything. It's your subscriptions that keep us going. So, from me, from Immortan Joe, all it remains for me to say is thank you for watching, take care of yourselves, happy collecting, and it's over to the showcase.